Chappy. This is Junior. Keep it locked here. AdrenalineUndergroundRadio.com.
Chappy and Junior's podcast out on all your favorite media streaming platforms, featuring raw and uncensored Fridays.
Well, thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, we're going to start off, for those that don't know who you are, where you're from, go ahead and let us know where you're based out of, where's hometown, and introduce yourself.
Well, I am Grim, and I am Grimrock, all the same, because myself, I don't have an actual band, per se, so I do everything myself, but I am Grim, and I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where I'm from.
Okay. I actually, we grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Got you.
Yes, I did.
Got you. Awesome. You're close.
Yep.
Couple hours.
Pretty much the same type of city, blue-collar, hard-working cities.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I grew up in the Midwest between Illinois and Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So, you're saying you're solo, then what instruments do you play in all of your music?
I actually play them all. Every one of them. Mm-hmm.
Talented, very talented. So, well then, what pursued you to get into the music business?
I would have to credit that to my dad because he had some old guys in the basement and found them when I was younger. I actually saw a couple in there and I was putting them on and checking them out. And there was one in particular that I saw. Gloria 69. It wasn't the 66 version. It was a heavily overdubbed guitar-driven version that wasn't, I guess it wasn't authorized by them, I guess, from what I was reading. But that actually just set in motion. As soon as I heard that, I was like, wow, I got to do this. And, I kind of just pursued it ever since.
That's awesome.
All right. So, well then, what genre of music would you consider your music as?
I consider myself alternative rock. I go middle ground where it's just not one thing or another, so it kind of fit the alternative rock kind of.
That's what I was going to say, because everything that I've listened to from you sounds kind of like 80s metal, and then you've got the hardcore, and then you've also got what sounds kind of like Devo.
Yeah, I love Devo. See my little figurine in my picture there.
Yeah, I totally caught that when I was like listening. I was like, he is all over the place. I was like, I really like this because, I mean, I grew up in the 80s and, that's basically what we all had to listen to. And it completely just, blew me out of the water because it's just so diverse.
Yeah, I listen to so much different music, and it's just I kind of draw from it all, and it's not. I've said it before. It's really hard to pinpoint like one particular sound, that I make or try to record. It just flows out from all those different genres of music,
Yes.
So, with that being said, then when you write your music, do you have a particular way that you go about writing your songs and stuff?
I do. I don't do lyrics first, which is a lot of people do lyrics first, but I don't. Mostly I start with an acoustic guitar, and I'll start making little riffs or things like that, and then if it sounds, palatable, what I'm hearing in my head, then I try it on electric. If it works on the electric, and I just kind of expand on that. So it all kind of starts from just little riffs from my acoustic guitar, and then it just kind of grows from that. I actually do lyrics pretty much last. So
Definitely different.
Yeah, that's a different way of doing it. Mostly people come up with, they hear a little guitar riff and then they'll just kind of build off of that. And they've already had a sample of writing down their lyrics in the past, and they'll just kind of go through them and fill up through. So,
So
so
what
how
are
long
some of your hobbies that you have, or outside interest outside of music?
I love football. I'm in Steel City. It's football. I love football. I watch hockey. Our baseball team stinks, but I still watch them. But it's football, man. I love football.
you say that your baseball team sucks, but you still support them.
Yes, I do.
You remember at the beginning of this conversation where we said we're from. You want to
Right.
talk about You want to talk about football?
All right,
Hey,
we can talk about Green Bay Packers too, on top of everything else.
It's all about supporting your home team, no matter what it is. Winning and losing, it's your home team.
Yeah, I want Cleveland and Pittsburgh to get back to the rivalry they had in the 70s and 80s.
Oh my Lord.
Oh yeah,
That would be great. That would be great. I would love that.
they would need to bring the Houston Oilers back though.
That would be nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. So then, what's been your biggest challenge so far?
My biggest challenge is everything that happens after the music. I have distribution. I'm everywhere. I think it's more the administrative side beyond that. How to get it out, how to market it, where to put it, how to promote it. It's just that's things that's I think I do a fairly well job at, very good job at, as far as that. But it's just that's the most difficult thing is beyond actual the music recording. You know, I think that's pretty much it for most all the indie artists. It's all we all create. It's what happens past that is the biggest struggle. Since we're not signed, nobody has a label. Most of us can't afford a manager, things like that. So
Right, right. So, well, that leads me into another question then. Talking about the industry itself, if there was anything that you could change about it, which you or nor us can change this, but what would you change if you could about the music industry and the distribution stuff behind all of that?
I think one of the biggest challenges in the music industry for independent artists is the inequality of pay. As far as with the streaming services. I guess that holds true for the major artists too, but they have volume where we don't. You know, I think maybe if there was some kind of weighted scale of some sort, it'd be different if it was, you said Devo, they probably get 1 million streams a month. I'm lucky to get 2,000. You know what I mean, across all
Right.
platforms. And it's just the small amount of pay you get from the streaming services versus you know um, without the quantity. That's probably what I would change. I would try to kind of scale a little different, where the little guy gets a little bit more as far as streaming revenue to kind of help balance that out.
Right.
So,
So,
have you
go
guys
ahead.
have
Go
you
ahead.
played out at
Yeah.
venues?
Yes, I have, and I actually got a gig coming up on November 18th in Greensburg at the Green Beacon Cafe. It's at 7 p.m.
Oh yeah.
I've actually been there. And speaking, I've actually been there. That's a nice little place. I went there with my ex. Uh, probably 11 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, it's been around that long. It's a good place. If you've never been there, I think you'll enjoy that place.
Yeah, I stopped up there to visit to check it out the one day and meet Mr. Phil up there. So I was trying to get a feel for the area and everything. And being I'm I'm a solo artist, you're probably wondering what I'm going to do. But I actually have backing tracks for every guitar, that kind of thing. So I actually have a tablet strapped to my mic stand so I can control the songs. You know what I mean? So makes it
So
interesting.
when you have played out, how do you get rid of like your performance anxiety? Because most people have it, and then once they're on stage, they're fine.
Yeah, I mean, my advice for that for anybody is when you're first looking at everybody, don't look at everybody, look over everybody. You know what I mean? Just start getting into a rhythm, getting a feel for everything. Once you do that, you start kind of peering into like the end of the crowd coming forward, kind of method. That's what I use. You know what I mean? And I kind of just draw it back into where, eventually I'm into a point where I can look at everybody, try to draw from them, whatever. Being more engaged, you know what I mean, from the very first song to maybe like the third song, you know what I mean, in.
So
Definitely
with that,
helps.
what has been the best venue that you have played at where you've gotten like, the greatest response to your music?
Mm, I would say I was at a place called DeMarco's here in Uniontown. Uh, it was an outside one, an outdoor deal,
Yeah.
and I actually did a complete acoustic set, and I think I had a really good time there, and it was really good.
So with saying the best one, what was your worst one?
Uh, I had, well, it was actually supposed to be an open stage night, and I was supposed to host, but nobody showed up.
Oh
Oh,
God.
As far as other people, and then one guy showed up in the middle, and me and him split it, but it wasn't very good. I had speakers, my speaker blew out on the highs on the one thing, and it just started going downhill real quick. We stuck it out, and that guy stuck it out with me. I really appreciate him, Terry Golding, appreciate him for that. Yeah, the wheels came off the bus real quick on that one.
hmm. So how did you handle that? With that happening, how did you handle it? Did you just keep on rocking and keep going, or
Oh yeah, you got to
like,
keep going. You just can't give up, at that
The
point,
show doesn't end.
Yeah, no, you just got to go until you just can't. Something has to catch on fire or something, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
before you end it. So you just gotta roll with it. It's all part of it. You have good shows, bad shows. It
Okay,
happens.
so in that, uh, COVID has hit everybody, and there's bars and clubs and musicians that hadn't been able to play out in almost 2 years and stuff like that. How did it impact you, during that time when there wasn't anything happening?
Well, what's really interesting about that is that I actually had another project I was working on at home, and I just switched over to the Grimrock project. I think it was last July, I think, and I didn't actually put anything out until November. You know what I mean? Of last year, believe it or not, for the Grimrock thing. I was actually doing an in-home thing. A buddy of mine, Mark Kushek, had wrote a book of lyrics and was needing help promoting it. So I wrote a bunch of songs around it, and we called ourselves the Monolith Cage. And that's what I
Hmm.
did during the COVID thing. Trying to help him out and make some music, and then I just ended up switching over to the Grimrock thing, and now back into the Groover thing. So,
I feel it.
Nice.
So, if you weren't doing music, what would you be doing now?
uh, probably traveling. I love to travel.
okay, all
Any
right.
specific places?
We go, yeah, mostly down south, East Coast down south. I mean, we usually go Georgia, South Carolina, mostly South Carolina.
We're at in
We'll end
South
up
Carolina.
Hilton Head Island. I
Oh,
love
okay.
I
I'm
love
from South
Hilton Head.
Carolina.
Oh yeah, where
Yeah,
at?
that's where I live now.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we go to Hilton Head every year, every February, at the end of
Oh,
February to
okay.
break up the weather.
Yeah.
And I actually told the wife we need to buy a winter home down there.
And we
Bull
just a
Travel.
hop, skip, and a jump. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
actually in North. Yeah, we're in North Carolina now. So
nice.
yeah. How long have you been? How long have you been doing music?
I would say I'd probably say 14 or 15. You know, I'm rather over the hill for the music industry now, but it's been a long time.
For some of the people we've talked to and done interviews with, you're not even close to being over the hill for music. We've
That's
had some doing 30 and 40 years so far. So you got a ways to go.
What? I appreciate you think that I'm that young.
Well, like I said, some of the ones we've talked to, you're still youngin.
Well, that's good to know then. I'll keep
So,
Yeah.
have you
So
pushing the water.
participated in any kind of music competitions, and did you win any prizes?
I actually submitted to a contest for Golden Robot Records, and I don't know that they announced anything yet. And that's really the only one that I really put in for. I didn't really do any of the other ones. Just kind of was
Okay.
testing the water to see what it is, and I actually got a funny story about that. So when I was doing the Grimrock Radio disc, the song Grimrock Radio itself, didn't have that little lights out chant at the beginning of it originally. So when I sent that song in. I was so excited about it, sending it into this contest. And one day I was watching the guy's podcast and trying to keep up with the contest. And one of the things he said was, "Get to the chorus, don't bore us." And I was like, "Well, that's it. I'm done. There's no place at the beginning." So I ended up adding that afterwards and putting it on the actual disc. The little lights out chant at the beginning of it. So I mean, it's way after the fact, but it's still kind of funny that it happened that way.
yeah, it's funny you say that because actually Junior and I was talking about this an hour ago.
Yeah.
If a song doesn't catch your attention within like the first 15 or 20 seconds, you're not going to want to listen to it. It's like a proven fact. It's a psyche thing. And we were listening to some music that was sent to us today, and the first 30 seconds, it was literally just a lead in, and it was really boring lead in at that. But once we got past that lead in, it was a great song. It's just I wish they would have kind of shortened that little intro, maybe did something with it. But so I think you're absolutely right with what you did there and went back and added something. It kind of keeps the attention of people. Um, so, with that being said, what has been some of the advice that you may have gotten? Because you said you've been doing this about 15 years. What's been some of the advice you may have gotten from peers or just outsiders about you doing your music?
Most of the advice, is keep the songs short. You know, um, nothing much over 3 minutes. Because I guess the current attention span for music is way less than when I was growing up. I mean, you can listen to something for 7, 8 minutes. Long guitar solos, long drum solos, whatever. And I guess that's not the thing anymore. With even if I do it, I wouldn't do it just for that. But a lot of it was just keep the song short. Try to make it catchy. Have a catchy hook in it. You know, uh, that was like that's the majority of it. Keep the attention. You know,
Makes sense.
and then the other one was EPs. Keep it short. People don't want to listen to CDs. I guess I was told. In full length. So you just put a couple singles out or a track disc. You know what I mean? So I've been kind of following that, even though I'd rather have a full disc out.
Yeah, that's probably some good sound advice because everything with the internet has is kind of switched everything up as far as where you find your music, how you get your music. Spotify and Apple and all that. You just go there, and a lot of times you're not listening to the whole album anyway. You just get a few songs and you're done.
Right.
So that at least that's how I am. Like right now, I'm actually on Spotify because we have an account with Spotify that we're going to be putting our playlist of all of you guys. Nobody knows this. You're the first to know this.
Nice.
We're putting all of our bands that we've received music from. We're just randomly selecting one of their songs, putting it part of a playlist. Now you see, there are other people that's doing this that we've seen, but we're exclusively picking our artists, only our artists, and we're going to put it out on Spotify and promote that as well. So you guys will be out there on our spot because we have our podcast on Spotify as well.
Right.
So it'll be kind of it's another way to help you guys get out there through our Spotify account. So it's just, you're the first to know that. That's actually, Junior's actually the only one. Our PR lady didn't even know about that. So
we haven't said anything to anyone.
this is like an exclusive in this interview.
Awesome.
So what is
Thanks,
your
Chappy.
favorite? Yeah. No problem. What is your favorite song to play when you're out?
Of my own or somebody else's?
Anybody's. It doesn't have to be just yours.
Well, if it was my own, I like playing the product. I'm really proud of that song, even though that was part of the first EP. And I think I like that one the most. I have fun with Grimrock Radio, but I think the product's probably my favorite one to play though. If it's somebody else's song, I'm one of those. I'll pick some obscure song and nobody probably ever heard of and just play it.
Right. Okay, that leads me into my next question. You collabed with Trench Gun,
Yes.
who we did a podcast with. Then we're going to be releasing his interview in a couple weeks here.
Right.
Tell us how all that came to be, because you guys are in different parts, of the country. How did that come to be that you guys got together and did a song together? I really like it. It's a really good song by you guys too.
Yeah.
So Trench Gun, I talk to him almost every day. He's over in L.A. and we've talked about collaborations and things before, and we always kind of fill each other in on what we're doing. I guess comparing notes, or whatnot. But he's a really cool dude, and so one day he had sent me something, and he was like, "Hey, maybe you should add something to this, or think about this." And I sent him a track back, and we just kind of pull with it from there. But I tell you, I really, really dig that song. I've done more collaborations too than just Trench, but I like that one a lot. Broken, good song.
Broken it's a really good song. Yeah, we were actually just listening to it. It's probably one of the. I mean, I don't want to make your head feel huge right now, but it's probably it's in the top 5 songs that I've heard so far that we've received. So
yeah, he put the main tracks down, the main guitar, the main drums, the main vocals, and I added the lead guitar at the beginning and the end, and the extra guitars, the synth, and he ended up mixing it down. It did come out really, really good. I think, and this is an exclusive for you guys. How about that? I get to give you one. Is we have another friend, a band friend of ours is called Morpheus. If you haven't checked him out, and I'm hoping he gets with you guys. He's from Detroit. He does industrial music. He wants to remix it. We're going to send him the stems and see what he comes up with.
Okay.
Nobody knows that, but all of us now. So.
Okay, I like it. I'm digging the exclusives.
So speaking on collabs, if you could collaborate with any artist, alive or dead, who would it be and what song would it be?
That one's a good question. I think, I don't even know. I really don't. There's so much good stuff out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would probably I'll pick one. So I think if I wanted to collaborate with anybody, I think it'd be Nick Drake. I love his acoustic work, and I know that's kind of an oddball thing probably to say because probably everybody says, "Oh, I'd love to do Jimi Hendrix or whatever," but I would love to do one with Nick Drake. You know what I mean? Um, I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah. Um, so if there's anything you could tell us about your newest stuff coming out, what would it be like? You know, is it any different than your older stuff, or is it kind of along the same sounding music, or are you thinking about kind of changing things up a little bit?
No, I'm not changing much. I got a little bit of different tonal vibes on my guitar. You know, I've been messing with some different settings and things. You know, trying to improve my recording process and whatnot. I mean, pretty much you're gonna hear a lot of the same kind of form, I guess, that I do use. But I mean, things it's gonna get progressively different. You know what I mean? As I keep going. You know, so if you look at
Right.
the very first EP that has the product and Angel Rats and whatever on it, then you go to Grimrock Radio. It's similar, but it's not. Then you go to Black Out Your Mind. It's a little bit more guitar-y than you know. And the next stuff out, like everything is on fire, is really heavy. And then I have one other song that's only on Reverb Nation right now. It's going to be part of my new disc, and it's got that guitarish kind of thing, but it's got the a heavier keyboard in it, you know, a heavier synth back in it, you know what I mean? So it's going to stay about the same, but it's going to be fresh, you know. It's going to have some different quality to it that's going to make it stand out, though.
So when is
Gotcha.
that supposed to be released?
I don't know. I have an insane work schedule. So I have probably 4 tracks sitting on my desktop that I'm working on right now, and I have one, like I said, it's just on Reverb Nation sitting. Um, I really can't. I really don't know. It really depends on my work schedule. Like I said, I have a really, really insane work schedule.
Okay.
All right, so we touched on some of the advice that you've gotten over your career, your 15-year career now. Uh, what advice would you give a new artist, or band, solo or band coming out? What would be a piece of advice you would give them?
Biggest piece of advice I'd give him is just to never give it up. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be a lot of roadblocks. There's going to be a lot of negativity probably at first, a lot of non-interaction, things that are just normal with getting into the industry itself. You know, I just my biggest thing to them is just to keep plugging away in it. Don't give up on it. You know, you got to be persistent and just relentless with what you do. You know, if you truly be hurt. So that's really the key.
Yeah, the biggest piece of advice I could give to somebody is give everything a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at all your options, all your streaming platforms and stuff like that. I've told that to a few artists that we received that's only got a few followers on Twitter. I'm like, just start looking at, go into your search and search for radios and just start, talking to them and see if they'll play your stuff. And I don't believe we've already said this. We'll never, charge anybody to be played on here. I actually had to clarify that for a few people. Um, but that's the advice I give them is stuff like that. I like giving advice when it comes to stuff like that because I've seen it from our end and we love receiving music. So
Right. The other thing especially with Twitter is I tell people go to your feed, follow like 10 random people. You might
yeah,
get somebody to follow you back, and just kind of do that every couple of days. Follow 5 or 10 or whatever you want, whatever you schedule yourself at, and eventually you'll have people following you back. People will leave. you'll get people come from their end because they'll see, oh, my friend so and so's following this guy. Let me check him out. Yeah, that's another
Yes.
thing. You know, it just gotta just kind of be persistent with it. You know?
Yeah, we've noticed that like we were sick Tuesday and Wednesday, no, Wednesday and Thursday or whatever. We got some food poisoning thing happen, and we really didn't do anything on Twitter, but we still noticed that because we put in the work to go out and start searching for you artists, and we had followed so many that we literally were still getting the submissions and the email back, and, like, because we were putting in that work. And then if like a new artist would do that, they would realize they could take a little bit of time and put it towards making more music or whatever. Like if they put in that work, they could back off for a day and go into something else, and then go back to it hard. And you know what I mean?
Right.
It was good for us.
Oh yeah, that definitely works.
Okay, so where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years musically?
Well, I guess I could say I hope, like many other artists, that I get signed somewhere. You know, whether it happens or not, I mean, the chances, I probably get a better chance of getting hit by lightning walking outside, I guess, for that. But,
You never know.
yeah, but I mean,
I've seen some bands that get signed that you would just like, you never thought that they would, and then all of a sudden it's just like, bam, they just took off, and, you know, now they're playing everywhere.
yeah, I mean, I'd hope to get signed, but I mean, if not, you know, I would still create music and just keep plugging away at it. I mean, eventually, I figure something got to happen eventually. Either I'll go to the retirement home with my guitar, or you know, just something good will happen. Who knows? I mean, like I said, I started this whole thing really putting music out last November, and I can tell you, I've seen gains, a lot of gains from my persistency. You know, from then until now, 11 months ish.
Do you
And
find
so,
that
Yeah.
playing your music is therapeutic?
oh, it's very therapeutic. Listening to it, playing it, it's all the same to me. You know what I mean? It's all good for the mind.
Yeah, you were saying about getting signed. I can, because I've seen the contracts of that you would receive. Read that fine print, and I hope you do get signed. Because you can, if you structure your contract correctly,
Yes.
you can make money doing it. You really can. But read that fine print when you go into it, because they will front you for everything, but then they take that.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
if you're A&R, person, um, you know, takes a car ride, across country to promote you, that gets taken back from you.
yeah.
They
I've
get
heard
flown.
stories.
Yeah, like if they get flown from LA to, the East Coast, that's going to come out of your pocket at the end of the day. So structure that contract. And I really do think you can make it, but be very, very cautious.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've heard stories like that, even with bigger artists. You know, I think one of them was, I think it might have been John Corabi. I guess was the story when he joined up with Motley Crue and ended up with some bill that he owed like $800,000 in the end or something back to the company, or some crazy story like that. You know. Oh yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's why you see a lot of these indie artists, like, they're blowing up, because they know how the big time companies work, and they're applying it to themselves.
Mhm.
The biggest one is Ryan Upchurch. Totally different genre as you, but he's, a multi-millionaire, and he is under his own creation. And he did it all on his own money, and I'm a fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of him per se as his music, but he's doing it, I'm a fan of.
Yes.
So Kirsten, you got anything in closing you'd like to ask?
No, I've just found that your music has been, something that I'll probably end up listening to for a long time.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, then we have one final question, which we've asked everybody.
Okay.
If you can give one message to your fans, what would it be?
Experience Grimrock.
Simple yet powerful. I love it.
I actually registered that as a hashtag.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I did.
That's awesome.
Yes, I did.
Very nice. I'll have to remember that. We'll have to include that in when we post this.
Nice.
So, Grim, it has been a pleasure.
Definitely.
And we will definitely keep rocking your music as always. And we'll support you through and through. And it's been humble, getting you on here, and everybody else that we've got onto our podcast so far. It's been a true pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate the opportunity and guys for having me. So thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely, anytime. Hey, this is Chappy. This is Junior. Keep it locked here. AdrenalineUndergroundRadio.com.